All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Beyond the Score podcast, episode 2. I'm Matthew Supinger, joined today once again with Alex Perez.
How we doing?
It's good episode 1. Very fun episode 1.
For sure.
It seems like the feedback has been well. Got an amazing trailer. Big thanks to Liam. That was probably one of the better trailers. That might win an award.
It was cinema. Everybody go look it up on the Northern Media Instagram if you haven't seen it yet. It's great.
It was phenomenal. So big thank you to Liam for that. But yeah, it was a good episode 1, fun episode 1. So we thought, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's bring it back.
So once again, we're back for episode 2. Alex, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. It's been a fun sports week. Topics, it looks like it's going to be awesome to talk about. Especially this first topic.
Getting ready for the best time.
I agree. Jelle Marble Runs. That's what. Or Jelle Marble Runs. I'm sorry.
So good.
That's wrong. So the quick breakdown of this, if you guys haven't heard of it, which I don't know, maybe you have. Maybe you're really into these sports. But this is one of the greatest things I think I've ever seen on ESPN in my entire life. It is like the Olympics. You know, it's different Olympic events. They have like a dash, like a 400-meter dash, but it's obviously not 400 meters, and it's also not a dash because it's just a bunch of marbles. Yeah. So every single sport involves marbles. There is like a kayaking thing where they go down a hill of water, and the winner in these kayaks, like these group of different colored marbles, wins. It is the coolest thing I've ever seen. If we do end up clipping this for a clip, we'll make sure to slap in a highlight in there because it is just phenomenal. It is like, I was just telling them before we started, like the Olympics, obviously the pinnacle of sports.
Right.
This thing might be coming close.
It's got to be close, yeah.
I mean,
you don't get on ESPN by being bad, so it's obviously a fun sport.
I don't know. Every now and then,
yeah,
the Hornets make ESPN, so
that's true,
it's tough to say that sometimes. But yeah, it's phenomenal. If you guys haven't watched it, I'm sure you can go on YouTube and just look it up, find like anything about it. It is so cool to have that on there.
Be sure to be on the lookout for it soon because the season ends on July 31st.
Yeah.
So those championships are coming up very soon.
Oh, yeah. It's about to be clutch time for these marbles.
For sure.
I was talking to some people, too, about it, and they didn't know what it was. So it wasn't like, like sitting around having hoop talk. It's not like the same thing.
Yeah.
But I was talking to them about it. And I'm like, this would be such a cool thing to bet on because you have zero clue how any of them are going to perform.
It's so unpredictable. I was watching one of the races, and it was like one of the ones on the sand courses, and the lead changes like 20 times every race, and the races are only 2 minutes, so it's crazy. That'd be really fun to bet on.
Yeah, and then it's like you'll get a race where they go down this like big, almost like obstacle course sort of thing, and it's like, the Olympics, everybody at least crosses the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have like, 10 marbles going down a hill, maybe 3 of them cross.
Yeah,
maybe. The other ones, they just get caught up and they just get stuck. And that's
I only got to watch a couple races, but the first one I watched, 3 crashed out, and it was the most intense moments of the race.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it is truly amazing. So if you guys haven't watched that yet, make sure to go tune into that because it is phenomenal.
You'll be able to find it on ESPN, so keep an eye out.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, we wanted to give a quick rundown of that real quick because we saw that over the weekend, and it was just, like, tough not to talk about. So, yeah, thanks for chatting with me about that one. That was a fun one.
Of course.
Moving on to the NBA now. Got some big news in that. Olympics are coming up. Finish up some exhibition games against South Sudan and Germany. Very, very close games, very close wins, especially South Sudan, where maybe I saw this wrong. Was the U.S. a 40-point favorite over them?
I think it was like 46.
And it was a 1-point win in the U.S.'s favor. So it was a huge game against them. Germany, it was also a pretty close game. Not near as close as the South Sudan game was, but it was definitely a good game. What do you think is going on with this? Because we kind of talked about it last week we see these U.S. performances where they perform, subpar. They don't perform up to their abilities.
Yeah.
And it makes people wonder, like, okay, maybe this team isn't as good as it is. But it's like a team with KD, LeBron, Steph, Anthony Edwards.
Performing great, yeah. I'm right there with you. I've heard the arguments that it's an exhibition, so maybe they're not as motivated as they should be, but still I feel like with the lineup that they have, they should still be winning quite handily. I mean, I mean, there's a couple problems with the offense, like Embiid. He's just not been his normal self, especially what we're used to seeing in the NBA.
Yeah.
And when he's on the floor, we're having to play drop coverage on defense. So that is not a type of defense that really translates to FIBA because they like to run and shoot a lot of threes. And then some other things I noticed was like whenever Anthony Edwards gets in the game, he tries to play point guard and he's not really a point guard.
Mm-mm.
So he shouldn't be operating the pick and roll. And then Steph, unfortunately, has been missing some open shots, I feel like, more than he's used to. So obviously there's those problems. But as we talked about last week, the global game is so much better. I know me and you both saw the stat that the Dream Team only faced 9 NBA players, while this Olympic team will have to face 61. So the game's just growing. I mean, the competition is going to get much stiffer, but I just feel like this USA team could play a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think it is. There's a lot of star power on the team, and I think some people want to try and be like, well, they aren't able to share the ball because they're all so, they need the ball in their hands in order to have an impact. Well, you look at players like Drew Holiday. I know he's not, Magic Johnson, some phenomenal passing point guard or like some superstar. Drew Holiday he's very good.
Absolutely.
And I think between him and Tyrese Halliburton, you got plenty of options to go out there and delegate the ball. You were talking about Anthony Edwards kind of enters the game, tries to play a bit of a point guard role. You don't need to be doing that.
Doesn't work. Yeah, we have enough point guards on the team.
Yeah, so I think having him kind of step off would be a lot, and just allowing the point guards to play their game the right way, play the game that they dominate so well in. I kind of noticed too, in terms of turnovers, it wasn't as bad against South Sudan. U.S. still turned the ball over 12 times.
Yeah.
But South Sudan turned the ball over more. So it's kind of like we did still beat them. We did turn the ball over less. Against Germany, it was bad, though. I mean, we had 14. They had 7.
Very bad, yeah.
You're doubling the amount of turnovers that they have, which is obviously a lot of chances where you're not able to facilitate the ball around with these guys and allow this superstar team to emphasize on that factor. I think we've kind of talked about this before. Mm-hmm. Steve Kerr and some of the things he does. He hasn't been horrible. I will say that. But there are some things where it's like, you look at it and you're like, okay, this is a little questionable. Against South Sudan, I noticed this. I didn't get to watch as much of this game, so maybe I'm just like what do they say, like a casual? I'm just watching the box score. But Embiid he scored 14 on 5 of 6 shooting. I get the foul aspect. I get, especially in these exhibition games, he's been fouling a lot very early on, which leads to, Anthony Davis come in. Anthony Davis is very good. No hate towards him. When he was on the floor, though, it was a minus 14, box plus minus. And he shot 12 shots, had a worse percentage. He finished with 1 less foul than Embiid. I'm sure Embiid would have picked up more fouls while you're in the game, but I think Curry needs to find a way to maybe try and balance that out a little bit more. I think you're getting more of an offensive game from Embiid, and, there are very talented bigs on some of these other teams. They were talking about it the other day in the press conference with Jokic and Giannis. That's going to be some extreme talent they're going to face. So you're going to have those moments where you aren't facing a team that has a Jokic or a Giannis or something like that, and it's like you can capitalize on that because it's either going to draw in a double or it's just going to be one-on-one matchup, and Embiid is one of the best players in the game. He's going to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of obvious. His only problem really in these Olympics has been the defense. We know he can score. I feel like there are some improvements that can be made just on how they scheme him in the offense. Like, I feel like he can run more pick and pops than just trying to get down low and score, because when he does that, he needs to get the foul calls, and he's just not getting that in the FIBA game because it's much different than the NBA game.
Yeah.
So running the pick and pops, he's a good shooter, so I feel like he could be a much more effective shooter and scorer in these Olympics if he did that. And just a few more improvements that I noticed that could happen. Obviously, like health, because KD hasn't even touched the court. So we'll see that. That should make the team a little better. But as you mentioned, like AD, they have to figure out how to work that lineup, because AD or maybe even Bam should be starting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like Embiid should be coming in to provide that offensive role or that offensive spark off those pick and pops like I was talking about. And then Anthony Edwards, I feel like there's a way for him to get better implemented in the offense. Obviously shooting more instead of trying to orchestrate the pick and roll. But even if he wants to be involved in the pick and roll, like slashing off the pick and rolls instead of trying to be the ball handler in that situation, I feel like that would make the offense go a lot more smooth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think kind of going to your point, too, of either having Bam or AD starting. If you can start that game with, when you're going against a team, like I've said a couple times already, Jokic or Giannis, if you go against a team and bring in a strong defensive presence like that, and then you have this, offensive explosion of Embiid coming off the bench, and then your, third reserve at the center position is going to be a defensive specialist, it's that's going to emphasize that game so much more. It's going to make it tougher for these teams to, what do you want to push the superstar to play the entire game and then just be completely drained by the end of it, or what's your choice there? I think KD too. Talk about the pick and pop game, implementing him into that, maybe running it with Embiid or something like that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
KD is probably one of the most unguardable. He is one of the most unguardable players the
for sure
professional game's ever seen. Implementing him in something like that, it's going to be very tough for other teams to go against. Because you got 2 7-footers basically trying to run a pick and roll. Well, what do you really want to do here? You want to lose the speed game or you want to lose the size game? So, yeah.
Yeah, Embiid does get tired easily. That's a good point that you made. So, I feel like him coming off the bench would be even better for that. And, AD's already leading the team in blocks and rebounds, so I feel like he should be getting more minutes than he is, but we'll see how Kerr handles it.
Yeah. And then I'm interested to hear what your answer is on this. I feel like we're probably going to have the same answer on this. Number one option on the U.S. team, who do you think it is?
Well, first I'd like to say that Joel Embiid would probably not agree with me. He had mentioned that LeBron isn't the same player that he has been, and that the names on the papers fool people sometimes.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I feel like the 40-year-old is the team option number one right now.
Yeah.
He just has to wait till the very end to take over, because as a 40-year-old, understandably, you can't exert all that energy for the whole game.
Yeah.
During the Olympics against the best athletes in the world. But he still had the last 11 against Germany. Save them there. Save them against South Sudan. So I feel like while Embiid and Anthony Edwards may think they're the number one option, I feel like it's LeBron.
Yeah, you mentioned Embiid said that, people are getting fooled by the name on the paper. We must be getting fooled by the name on the paper.
He's doing a good job of fooling me.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
I must not know ball or something, because I think it's pretty dang obvious that LeBron is the number one option on this team. You mentioned, he came up big in both of those exhibition games so far, and can't say I've seen either Edwards or Embiid show up that big, have that big of an impact on the game at a moment that they need it most. And it's
always been LeBron closing these games, and
yeah,
that's not what you expect from, like I said, 39 going on 40-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
his last Olympics.
Yeah, that's not a question we need to sit and dwell on too much, because I think that one's pretty obvious there.
The stats speak for themselves. LeBron's the USA leader in total points, assists, and field goal percentage. So it's a pretty easy call, I think.
Yeah, I would say. I think he's probably the number one option. I don't know. I've heard of that guy's name a couple times.
He's decent. Yeah,
he's pretty good.
He's playing a good role.
Yeah,
he's doing what he should.
Made the Olympics before, right?
1 or 2 times.
Okay, okay. I couldn't remember for sure. I just was wondering about that. Do you think that this team's gonna be able to take the gold?
Despite all these early problems, I think they'll still have a pretty easy path to the gold, because I think KD's going to come in, bring some electric offense and maybe even some defense with his size. But, yeah, I feel like their team's just going to get it together when the games matter most. So I don't see any path where they don't win the gold, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think you got so much resiliency and experience with the team, and just all these guys have played in big moments. I saw that video the other day where there were some reporter was asking Steph and KD like if Jason Tatum came into the room being like, or if Jason and Derek White and some of the other Celtics came in and being like, oh, we're the champions, and they were both like, no, like every guy in this room is, if they haven't won a championship, they've at least been in that position before to be close enough to win it. So you got multiple champions, and it's just they've all played very, very critical roles on that team. So yeah, I think it should be. I will probably jinx them now, but it should be a pretty strong route.
Yeah, you all can blame us if the jinx comes. If we mess it up, then that's on us.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you call them world champions or national champions or whatever champions?
Are we referring to like if they win the gold?
No, I mean like, so you were saying like Jason Tatum's champion, and there's a bunch of champions on the team. Are they national champions or NBA champions or are they world champions?
That's a good question. Alex, I want to hear your take first.
Listen.
Noah Lyles is tuning into this one too.
I had some more to say about him later, but we can get to it now. Any NBA team that wins the title would destroy any other foreign team, any global team, any EuroLeague team. They would dominate them. Like this Celtics team would win every game by 30 in any EuroLeague. So
yeah,
I don't see how this could not be a world champion.
Yeah. I think it should be worth noting too. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Luka, he either said that the NBA was easier than playing in the EuroLeague, or he said he was having a better time adapting to it. He got smoked in the finals.
I was about to say, I think he was just talking about like scoring, because it's obviously not easier, or he would have a couple more championships, I'd say.
He got smoked in the finals by the Celtics team. So I'd say that, yeah, I'd probably call them world champs, especially with how global the game is now. Like 60-plus players are playing in the Olympics that also play in the NBA. You're beating a lot of the best across the nation. So
right.
I'd say world champs.
Colton, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I said it back then. I would love to see, and I saw like the EuroLeague champ, I believe, calling out the Celtics. I would love to see like a Champions League in soccer just for basketball, and just so like everyone can shut up and we can show that we're world champs.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty awesome. It'd be a lot of people tuning in, especially like with soccer gets so many viewers.
Yeah,
that would be off the charts.
For sure.
But speaking of gold and champions, Colton, I got a question for you. How's your dynasty going? Because we talked about that last time.
I'm glad you asked, because I am currently in the playoffs in my third season at Purdue. I just got to beat Indiana, which is light work. And as long as I beat them, I'll be in the playoffs. We actually are having easily the best season, as I beat Penn State at Penn State.
Oh man!
I was in a party with Garrett, and I was going crazy, man. I was crashing out like, oh, this game's over. I threw a pick like, oh, it's over, dude. It was like the most happiest I felt at the end of a football game ever after beating Penn State. It was crazy. But
the guy's a winner.
It's going good. How's y'all's doing?
I don't play the game, so.
Yeah, we still got to get that boo sound effect. But I haven't got the chance to play because I don't have a next gen system. But when I do, it will be successful. Don't you worry. I'm creating a dynasty over here.
Yeah, Colton's light flexing on us right now.
That is not as easy as you think. We started a MAC conference, the Norse Benchwarmers did, and I played as Ball State. It is awful. Ball State's like the worst rated team in the game, or like bottom 3. So I got an uphill battle, but it's like, especially when you're used to playing with like actual talented players, it's just a whole different game.
Ball State, you're getting called out right now. I mean, are you just going to take that from Colton? Being told that your players have...
I'm trying to build y'all. We're 2-3 right now, all right? I'm trying to build y'all. Y'all scheduled Miami. I had to go into Miami and lose 62 to like 30-something. Like, maybe an easier schedule would have been nice.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough game to play, I'd say there. Yeah, it's good to hear about the dynasty though. I was curious about that. I was sitting here thinking all week about like, man, I wonder how Purdue's doing. Glad to hear it though. Next topic, WNBA. Kind of taking a little bit of a break right now, the All-Star break, Olympic break. But we still got stuff to talk about. Plenty of stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah.
What's the biggest thing you want to talk about right now in the WNBA?
Well, there was a pretty big trade in the WNBA. Marina Mabry, who was on the Chicago Sky, got traded to the Connecticut Sun, and Connecticut got Mabry and a 2025 second-round pick, while Chicago got Rachel Banham, Mariah Jefferson, 2025 first-round pick, and the rights to pick swap a first-round pick in 2026. So Chicago got a nice little haul, but I don't know. I think Connecticut might have won that trade.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I kind of have some notes here. I think they won the trade. You're getting a great scoring guard. You're looking at Connecticut's breakdown of points, and I think their top 3 scorers per game are all forwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their field goal percentage leaders are all forwards. I think they're, in almost every statistical category, their leader is a forward. So you're finally getting this guard play in there. Not that they don't have good guards, but you're finally getting this guard play in there of where it's like, hey, like this game is not just down low. Like you're able to play it out from the arc in. As well as, they're second best team in the East right now. So it's like, hey, if we weren't getting good enough guard play before,
right,
we sure should be getting pretty good now that we get this trade. I think Chicago, you got some good guard depth, but I know this is it's going to sound stupid, but you're getting like 7 points per game from the 2 guards in this season based off what they've done. It's not like you're getting like 2 players that were averaging like, 8 points a game, 9 points a game, where you're getting like, oh, that might be a little bit of a slept on depth into the system. But yeah, you're not getting a huge scoring growth. The first round pick might be pretty good. The pick swap maybe could end up being good, possibly, but I don't know. Pick swaps are always tough to tell.
My only thoughts on the pick swap is those are usually good if you're trading with a team that's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Connecticut's going to get a lot better. Like, they're going to be competing for a championship now. Like, their starting lineup could be Ty Harris, Mabry, Tawana Bonner, Alyssa Thomas, and Dejanay Carrington.
Yeah.
That's a tough team.
Yeah.
So that's not a team that I would want to play in the playoffs. But I feel like Connecticut just made a really good deal here because they sold, like, when the iron was hot. Like, because Rachel Banham, just a couple games ago, had come off a performance 8 of 11 off the bench from 3.
Yeah.
Which is the best performance off the bench from 3 in WNBA history in a game. So they definitely knew when to sell.
Yeah.
And she had 24 points in 23 minutes. So she's definitely no scrub. But Marina Mabry is just top 25 in steals, rebounds, points per game, and 11th in assists. So it's just a guard that's just going to make them better. And I didn't know that was possible, honestly.
Yeah. It is funny, too, because the whole trade was like Mabry was saying that the system in Chicago wasn't really working great for her. She's still playing phenomenal in a system that wasn't working for her. So imagine playing in a system where you're being like this, you're now going to be like a star guard.
Right.
And kind of partially run the show up top in the backcourt. And it's like, what's she going to do now if that system wasn't great enough?
And her and Dejanay Carrington, like, as guards on the perimeter, that's a straitjacket. Like, that's locked down.
Yeah.
Nobody's scoring. Good luck to you all.
Yep. It was a very interesting trade to look at. I don't know. Don't know what Chicago, I guess, was trying to cook there. But maybe they're cooking something we just don't know.
I mean, they'll have these picks, like, I guess, to build around Cardoso and Angel Reese down the road. But I don't know how good that pick swap is going to be. That's my only problem with the trade, honestly.
Yeah. Moving on, All-Star Weekend was this past weekend. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it. I did catch some stuff, though. 3-point contest, I heard, was not as... It was exciting.
It was,
but it was not as exciting as I think people were planning on initially because they assumed that
Sabrina
Benescu and
Caitlin Clark would be there.
In there.
Now, I understand both of them ducking out of it because Sabrina's, playing for the Olympic team and Caitlin Clark's been playing basketball for basically a year straight.
Yeah.
Because you get like a week off in between the college basketball season and the WNBA season. So I understand both of them wanting to take a break. I really thought Jonquel Jones was going to take it, like in the 3-point contest, because she had 25
Yeah.
in the first round. She was getting pretty hot from three, but Alicia Gray being able to do that and win the skills competition, that's crazy.
I did see that. That is crazy.
I think that's the first time in history that's ever been done in NBA or WNBA, so that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. That's what we need to see next. And, like, I want to see someone win the dunk contest and the 3-point contest. Although now I think you could probably do, like, self alley-oop, and people would be like, this guy's winning the dunk contest.
Yeah.
Most boring part of the NBA weekend, unfortunately.
Let's see, what else? And then Alicia Gray, just another shout out to her. Like, she made $115,000 just by winning those two contests, and that's like 60% of her base salary. So she got a bag just from showing out in those two performances. So shout out to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
But another thing I noticed in the All-Star weekend was the 3x3 tournament. The national team played the select team, who was all college players, and they won by, I think it was 3. And that causes me some concern.
Yeah.
Because I thought this team would be really good with Hamby and Haley Van Lith and the others, but playing a college team and barely beating them, and I'm sure they don't have any experience on the national level, of course at their colleges and stuff, but at this Olympic level, I don't think they really have that much experience, so that does cause me some concern a little bit for the 3x3 team.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Haley Van Lith is good at basketball.
Yeah.
That's known.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of wonder, like, what was it about that pick that it was like, that's who we need on the team? Like, no diss to her. I'm not trying to diss her, but it's like, you're telling me there's not another option that probably would have added a little bit more to that team? I don't know. But that's my thoughts, and maybe I'm just a bozo, and Haley Van Lith is going to go off. And
I'll tell you who might have been a good option in her place, Arike Gumbawale, who lit up the WNBA and USA team All-Star game. Had 34 points all in the second half, 8 of 11 from 3, and just torched the USA team.
Do you think that's anything that needs to be a concern?
After watching their first game, not really. I just think Arike was mad. I mean, she's not really mad that she didn't get picked because she took herself out of contention for the Olympic team.
Yeah.
But I think she just really wanted to prove that she is on that level, and no matter if she's in it or out of it, that she's one of the best on the floor.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw a stat, too, that was like the last time that they played, like the select team and or the national team and the All-Stars played each other. The All-Stars beat them, and then the national team went on to win gold. So it was like, perfect thing for social media. People to be like, oh, no, they lost to the All-Stars. Like, they can't, maybe they won't win it all.
Oh, yeah, the discourse was crazy.
Yeah.
Afterwards, like, oh, the rookies should be on the team. No, they shouldn't. Stop it.
Yeah.
Enrique, maybe, but she didn't want to, so that's it.
Yeah.
That's into that.
That's all the discourse that needs to be around that. You mentioned the huge win over Germany for the national team. What were your reactions to that?
I think the team played really well. I feel like some people were more concerned than they should have been. It was a 27-point win, so I feel like that's a pretty handy win.
Yeah.
I feel like they continue to show that they're the most dominant team in sports. It's their 56th straight win now.
That's
so
insane.
They're able to spread the floor, and they didn't really let up defensively, so nothing really caused me concern in this game. Did you find anything that really worried you?
Nothing really. I mean, because you just mentioned the defense. Did they hold them to 57? Is that what it was?
57, yeah, 84-57.
Yeah. I mean, there can't be too much that you're worried about there. If your offense was really puttering out of control and maybe you only mustered up 70, something like that, maybe I'd be concerned, but you did pretty well. So, no, I wouldn't say there was really anything to be too worried about. You did maybe if you really wanted to go crazy with the offense, but you're going to pick and pull from one side or the other. They locked Germany down. I mean, shooting 29% from the field.
That's tough, yeah.
That's a long day.
Against a good Germany team. They got Satu Sabali from Dallas and Leonie Fibic from New York, so it's not a scrub team by any means.
Shooting just under 21% from three. I mean, you did well. You out-rebounded them. I think the assist is where it really stands out because you almost doubled what they had.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there wasn't anything really that I was like, that's concerning.
Right.
Number one option on the Olympic team.
On the women's side, I'd like to give an honorable mention to Brittany Griner, even though she hasn't played, because I feel like she's going to really dominate these Olympics because she's going to be able to kick it out to shooters or make sure she's not double-teamed because of the shooters we have.
Yeah.
So she's just going to be able to dominate and score inside at will. But I think it's far and away Asia Wilson.
Really?
Yeah, that's my pick.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
She's led the team in points, rebounds in 2022, 2020, and 2018. So
yeah,
I feel like she's the number one option. It's probably a little closer than we'd like to give it credit for, but she's been dominant, so it's hard to say she's not.
Yeah, I think the 1-2 punch of having, like looking at the stats and stuff from that Germany game, Stewie didn't shoot well, but still had a pretty good game all around.
Mm-hmm.
Having that 1-2 punch of that, of like, well, if one's having an off day, you still got this other one that's going to come in and step up huge. I think Aja Wilson is starting to hit this like point of her career where, especially with all the light that the WNBA is starting to finally get, she's hitting this point in a career where it's like a lot of other, like a Michael Jordan hit, whether a LeBron hit, where it's like undoubtedly like this is the best player.
She's here,
in her game. So she's starting to hit that point in her career, and I just think it's cool because it's like every athlete should have that, where it's like in every single game that they're going into, that you don't have a single doubt that they're going to outperform whoever they're matched up against, and I think that's the point that she's at. And so I don't think it's close. I guess it is pretty close because a lot of these other players are getting better, but
for sure,
the way that she just goes out and dominates in every part of the game, it's pretty good for her.
I mean, she had 19 points, 14 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. So every facet of the game that she could be dominant in, she was.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to change. I mean, the rebounds may change a little bit with Brittany Griner coming back, but besides that, I don't see much of this changing at all.
Yeah. And then staying on the topic of the Olympics, opening ceremony is today.
Today, yeah. We record on Fridays, you guys. So.
Yeah. Opening ceremony is today. What storylines are you excited about?
There's a few that I really am looking forward to. First and foremost, Simone Biles' return after the 2020 Olympics, where she had to exit those. And then Katie Ledecky, the U.S. women's swimmer, she does this really cool thing where she's the only one on the screen because she has lapped everybody. So it's my favorite bit of the whole Olympics. Like, she's far and away the best, and I can't wait to see her dominate some more. Let's see, Noah Lyles trying to be the world champion even though he hasn't faced every racer in the world, so that may be tough. And Sha'Carri Richardson just being able to come back and redeem herself after all the off-the-track stuff that happened with her.
Yeah, I had, pretty much the same thing that I was excited about. I think the Noah Lyles thing is going to stick out a lot. I think if nothing else, because I texted you not too long ago about the documentary on Netflix that was the docuseries on Netflix that was kind of just followed a lot of the national, track runners and stuff. And just watching him and he, just seeing the differential between how fast he is to like a lot of these other like really good runners in the world. It's just, it is frustrating as a basketball fan sometimes to think about what he said because you're like, man, I kind of get what he's coming from, but at the same time,
and he's so good, so we can't even talk smack about him.
Yeah. But just watching how good he is, it's kind of crazy because it's just like he blows everyone out of the water. Same thing with Sha'Carri Richardson. Like, she's just phenomenal at what she does. I think it's going to be awesome to see what she does. I think, especially watching that docuseries, she likes talking trash, and I think that's awesome. So I think, if and when she just goes on to just blow people out of the water in the Olympics, she's going to talk all the trash that she wants, and nobody can say anything about it.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite parts of sports is trash talk, so I cannot wait to see it. I expect it, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm going to be there for that. And, same thing with Ledecky. I don't know if you saw like any of the trials that they did, but they just showed like a graphic up on the TV, and it was just like all of the I can't remember what it was. Every single thing on that screen was her.
All the best times in every event. It's just top 10 are all her.
Yeah,
She's phenomenal.
It's off the charts. So, yeah, even because for a long time it was like Michael Phelps. That was the headliner of the Olympics in swimming, and now it's like got this kind of passing of the torch from, no pun intended with the Olympics, but you got this passing of the torch from Michael Phelps for so long to Ledecky, where it's just like you're still going to watch swimming. You're still going to see this, and you're still going to see the U.S. just blow people out of the water.
And I don't know if it's much as on the women's side, but I know the men's side have done some smack talking from Australia, I've heard, and Michael Phelps, wasn't happy. And I know that's going to just motivate the team that we have now to go out there and just prove that they're still the best out there, even if they don't have Michael Phelps or not. So I'm excited to see that too.
Yeah. The Olympics is so awesome. That's like that one time of the year, people talk about, I'm not trying to get into politics here. People will talk about in politics of like, man, we just need something where the country just comes together. Mm-hmm. This is it. The Olympics, every single time it comes around, that's like the point where even if you don't know anything about a sport, if the U.S. is playing if you live in the United States and the U.S. is playing, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like, let's go, yeah, go U.S.
Red, white, and blue is coursing through my veins whenever the Olympics is on.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so awesome.
Another thing I'm excited to see is the new sports that are coming to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. One, even breakdancing, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
I think that's the only new one coming this year. But that just leads me to kind of question, what sports would you like to see come to the Olympics?
Oh man, we were just talking about at the start of the show. Mm-hmm. We need to get marble runs as an official Olympic sport. I don't know. I feel like everything, they kind of do a good job. I think it's tough for, they do the World Baseball Classic in baseball. Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool if they could do something like that during the actual Summer Olympics itself. But I think that's tough because it's right in the middle of baseball season. But, I mean, WNBA does that, but I guess it's kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
Did they say officially that football is going to be an Olympic sport?
I believe so, yeah.
That's going to be awesome to watch. I think it's just going to be, I don't want to say funny, but it's kind of going to be funny because it's just going to be like, you get there's all the memes and stuff of like, you got a postal worker trying to match up against Tyreek Hill one-on-one on a streak, and it's going to be crazy, not just to see the U.S., but like to see like what other type of talent gets put out on the field by other countries.
Yeah, I think that team will be mostly collegiate athletes, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I don't really know what I would want to see added. Ping pong is cool.
Ping pong is very cool.
That's really fast.
Yeah.
That kind of scares me. I don't think I would want to ever match up against someone like that.
Definitely not, no.
I'm not good at ping pong anyways. So going against an Olympic
quicker
level
than
talent,
the blink of an eye, yeah, I'm not messing with that. I'm good.
I can't really think of anything though that I would want to see added. But I think breakdancing would be cool.
I thought of a couple. One is another tabletop game, pool, billiards, whatever you want to call it. I think that would be really fun to see because it's always fun and competitive. They always have it on ESPN, and I feel like they get a good amount of viewers, so they definitely would at the Olympic stage. And then esports, I know it seems silly, but I feel like that would be great just to see what type of games they play. And there are a few things more competitive than esports, I'd say, and there's definitely not many things better at trash talk than esports. So I would love to see them incorporated into the Olympic Games. And it would also kind of just be funny just because everybody would be so mad that people playing video games are in the Olympics, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see it.
It is pretty cool. It takes, it's a different level of talent. Like, I think it's such a changing of the times, too, where people are starting to finally recognize, like, not everybody can just pick up a controller and be really good at, some random game like Rocket League. I know that gets a lot of views and stuff, like different esports on Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
Not everybody can just pick up a controller and be really good at that stuff.
It may be different skills, but it's skills nonetheless.
Yeah. All skills are good skills.
Absolutely.
Colton, can we possibly see you in Olympic breakdancing?
No. Unfortunately, I have to do a little more training for that.
Okay. I was hoping we could maybe get the breaking news like officially on this podcast. That would be our big break.
What are you looking forward to seeing in the Olympics, Colton?
I always love like the sailing, like the water sports. There's like a kayaking one too. I think. I'll just turn on the TV and there it is. I really just love all the random sports, to be honest. Like basketball, of course, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I just love tuning in to some sport. I was looking at sports like that they've been looking to add. Esports was one that I had thought of.
Nice.
But squash.
Ooh,
I think
very
I
cool.
pronounced that. Is that how it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, squash. I've never seen anything squash related, but I would love to just tune in on to the Olympics and just see squash played and figure out what it is.
You
Yeah.
can practice here at the NKU Rec. They have
Oh,
room
is that
for
what?
it.
Is that the little boxes in the
Yeah.
rec? Okay,
You got it. That's right
All
there.
right, now I know what squash is.
Wait, what is it?
Squash. It's hard to describe, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
It's a weird form of tennis, I'm pretty sure. But, anyways, yeah,
Okay.
we can Google it, YouTube it later, and it's too hard to explain.
Gotcha. Oh, that actually brings up something. Badminton. If that was an Olympic sport, that'd be pretty cool.
Is that not an Olympic sport?
it might be an Olympic sport. I mean,
Is it really?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Good.
Let me do my research. I'll get back with y'all.
Yeah, that'd be a cool one to watch. So, I'll tune into that one. Yeah. Did you have anything else that you were wanting to chat about today?
It is in fact an Olympic sport on their website. So
It is an
either
Olympic
it will be
sport.
in
Let's go.
2028 or it currently is.
Well,
Well, that's
gotta
good
get a
news.
jersey now.
You all tune into that. But if you don't have anything, I think that'll do it for us here at the Beyond the Score podcast. We want to thank NKU Media Services for giving us this studio, and thanks to Colton, who's the host of the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. You all go check them out on YouTube as well. He does some great work for us behind the scenes, so we can't thank him enough for that. But for myself, Alex Perez, and Matthew Supinger, I guess we will see you all next time.